This episode of Ticket Volume is brought to you by us, Invigate. Get service operations under control in no time. Get 1 free month of our software solution by going to try.invigate.com. Ticket Volume is proud to present an ITIL and COBIT certified service management professional with over 26 years of experience who started his career in customer support and quickly moved into IT. His tenure includes running the Network Operations Center, or NOC, and Service Desk at the National Bank of Kuwait, automated system company as a help desk manager, and his latest role as the manager of IT operations at Knet. He is also the author of the Service Desk Handbook. Welcome to Ticket Volume, news and information for improving IT experiences. I'm your host, Matt Barron, and each week I chat with different leaders to share insights on service management, technology, business, and this episode is no exception. I hope you're having a great day and a great week. And what are you looking to learn more about? Leave a comment, connect with us, share our podcast. For now, though, let's begin. Welcome, Sanjay Nair.
Hey, Matt, thank you so much for bringing me on here. Big fan of Ticket Volume. I do watch your videos and your podcasts. There's some great stuff you're doing out there, and it's such a privilege to be part of the people that you have brought on so far. So yeah, some big names in ITSM in that list. So yeah, it feels great. Thank you.
Yes, yourself included, and I'm a fan as well. One of the reasons that I wanted to get you on here is because of your book. I think it is so fundamentally important to our service desk industry, but we'll get into that. For now, though, let's start at the beginning. How did you get started in IT?
Well, so I'm an electronics engineer. I did my engineering in India, and it was the mid-90s, and a lot of people do a degree, and then everybody was moving into IT. Very few actually stuck on with the whole the engineering part, right? So yeah, it was a trend. So moved on. Quickly realized that IT support is what I would like to do. Not into programming at all. So it was fun. It was very service oriented. I think it's also because I love working with people, so to speak. And in IT support, you get to do a lot of that. You get to meet different kinds of people. You understand different psyches and personalities. As part of your learning curve. So it sort of builds you up. And I had a pretty good experience in Bangalore. I mean, all over Bangalore, moving around, meeting different kinds of people, fixing things, appreciations, some disappointments probably. But it was fun, yeah.
Ben, you've nailed it on the head. There is no shortage of need for support and service and just technology improvement in general. It is everywhere. And I really like the point that you made specifically, that you saw that there were other options. You could have gone into coding, you could have gone into infra ops, but really you like people and you like helping. And I think it's important to just pause here and note that service and support can be your career. You can stay in this area. It doesn't have to be a dead end necessarily, because there's always challenges to figure out, and most of them are related to people.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the beauty of it happens when you figure out how to deal with different kinds of people, because skills you can always develop. You can do N number of training courses, get N number of certifications, but if you do not know how to handle people, then the whole service industry is just not for you. You might as well sit behind a PC and just code all your life. You're not going to move ahead. This is what I feel.
Yeah. And DevOps definitely focuses on that. You build it, you run it, you support it. Totally. And I love the way that the industry is changing in that way. We're starting to come to terms with that. So speaking of the industry, let's talk about the Service Desk Handbook. What inspired your book?
Yeah, I just got one here. I couldn't resist. I had to show this.
I love it.
Okay, so writing has been something that I love doing. I used to do a lot of sports reports, small ones for the local engineering association here, and then that expanded into writing for a blog for my favorite football club, Liverpool. I couldn't resist bringing Liverpool into the podcast too. I did that for about I did that for about 2.5 years, and then I happened to see an ad for IT governance publishing. They were asking for people who could review books. Um I put in my interest and they accepted it. I reviewed 2 books, and then that got me thinking, why don't I try something? Why don't I try to come up with a book myself? And Service Desk was an area that I'd been doing for about 8 years uh, when I decided to put in my application. It is a lengthy process, by the way. And so I put in my application, luckily got approved and started working on the book. So, yeah. And again, I mean, I've put this out on LinkedIn multiple times. The whole point behind the book is I've done a lot of research when it comes to service desk, processes, metrics, documentation. So I've done the hard work. I thought, why not compile all of that, put it out there so that somebody will have something to start straight away rather than go through the whole process again. And you mentioned something in the beginning about it being very fundamental, and that's exactly what the book is about. So you can take it. I've put a lot of basic stuff there, a lot of stuff that I picked up interacting with my service desk team members. Yeah. So it's not always all about technology at the service desk. Your environment, the ambience of the place, how you get along with each other, the kind of people that you hire, that is actually a big factor in the success of your service desk.
Dude, yes, you have nailed it. And I saw a great post by Greg Gregory yesterday that kind of said the same thing. Who you hire is going to define your culture. And it is fundamental. If you are a service desk manager, or you're just getting started in this field and you just need like a general understanding, there are some amazing points in here, and it goes well beyond just process necessarily. It really is like the foundational elements of the things that you need to pay attention to when you're building and improving a service desk or a service operations. Things as basically fundamental as a RACI matrix, to single point of contact concepts, to service catalog, service request, approval matrices. I mean, you even have a chapter in there about AI, and this was published well before ChatGPT started blowing up. So what about you? What do you think? What is your favorite bit in the book? What do you find yourself constantly going back to or referring for other readers and for other people that you know?
So if you're talking about running a service desk, you need structure. You can have the best people, you can have the best tools out there, but if you do not have some sort of a structure to run it, then you are going to not necessarily fail, but you're not going to go beyond a certain level in the longer run. So you bring in processes on how to go about managing incidents, service requests. Mainly, those are the two main areas of the service desk. Of course, depending upon the organization you're working at, you could have a lot of involvements in problem management as well. So definitely, incident management, service request fulfillment, those two are very necessary. You need to have a way to do stuff, and then depending upon how once you've put in that structure, then you can basically automate it, right? You can go and say, for these category of tickets, then it should automatically go to a particular support group, and you can do whatever you want, canned responses, so to speak. So, but if you do not have a process, if you do not have a structured way of doing things, you can't develop it. That's for sure.
I love it. I love it. You said do stuff, and that is just perfect. You're so right. You just need to do it and lay that foundation, and then you can start thinking about service improvement, continuous service improvement. How do we take, just that basic, I've got a problem, now we solve it, and make that better, and make that better, and make that better, and just continually improve upon that. So let's talk about your current projects. You've been working on a help desk. You've been kind of growing and improving it. Talk a little bit about that. What are you guys doing as far as certifications go and as far as frameworks go?
So we have actually gone ahead and got certified. When I say we, I'm talking about the company I currently work at, right, Knet. So we have got our ISO 20000 service management certification. It's been a couple of years now. We successfully passed the initial certification process and had one surveillance audit cleared. So it's a 3-year process. They come and they recertify you every 3 years. Again, it's not just get certified and forget about it, because you got to keep doing things to make sure that you're following the standard. They're going to come back and they're going to ask you, you're going to produce evidences, reports that you are actually continuously progressing along the whole certification based processes. So yeah, it was fun. We had to, we had to develop processes from scratch along with our partner, and then we got a tool in place, the configuration of the tool, and then making sure that people start using the tool. A lot of awareness sessions, because it's a major, it is a culture that needs to be adopted, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah. Along with ITIL, you also got to sort of adopt the whole culture of service management, right? So that is, it's a continuous process. Let me put it that way. You can never say, right, I'm done.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's so true. Like, and it's the same with certifications. If you are ISO certified, ISO doesn't necessarily change all that often, but you do. Your team does, and how you perform work does. And so that certification is just like reviewing that and making sure that stays in that compliance, that you're still within those boundaries. I love what you just pointed out. There is no done in service management. You never can finish. And I remember saying it as a service desk manager all the time. I kept saying, I wish I could pause time, fix everything, and then hit play again and watch everything like just work well, like a well-oiled machine. But it just never happened. I never got that time machine. You've also expressed some interest or curiosity, or I think I've seen you share some things on LinkedIn about COBIT. Is COBIT something that you all explore? Is that kind of like where you go for ideas? Are you just putting all your eggs in one basket with ISO 20K and ITIL, or are you looking at everything across the board?
No, we do. We also have about in the gap of a few months, we got ourselves ISO 38500 certified as well, which is governance, right? So I personally got myself COBIT Foundation certified earlier this year. So it's an interesting, let's say, not necessarily a framework, right? But
Philosophy.
yeah, about how to go about doing things. So they have a lot of things there, and if you can handpick what you want. Again, a lot of metrics. I remember I had a very strange experience preparing for the exam, because I looked at it. Okay, 40 governance and management objectives, and you have 7 principles, so to speak, and then you have metrics for each of them. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to remember all of that. So just try to understand the concept. Yeah. So, but yeah, what I did take out of that whole exam preparation experience is that and there are two of those publications are available for download for ISACA members. So you don't pay anything for it, right? And they are gold. You have a lot of things there that if you implement, it will help you, let's say, measure yourself very well. It will help you set the right metrics, uh, put them in place, and then have a measurement and reporting system, and then that again goes into your SIP, so to speak, as part of your continual service improvement program. So it's like they complement each other very well, actually. COBIT and ITIL is, and this is what I feel. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
you need somebody. I mean, it is a task, it is a challenge, uh, because you got to sell that both these ideas are something that uh, you got to sell to the people who are working with you. You can't do it on your own. If the people don't support the system that you are using to implement ITIL, for example, if there's not enough uh, good data out there, then you're not going to get anything out of the system. So
yes. Yeah. So SIP stands for Service Improvement Plan. For those of you who haven't been part of CSI or Continual Service Improvement Initiatives, and you've nailed it on the head. You cannot. Nate Brown calls it the Moses method. You take these rules and you throw them at people's feet and you say, you must do ITIL. And they have no say in it. That they aren't convinced. They haven't gone through your same experiences and they don't have the same perspective. You really do need to get everyone kind of on the same page. And it is a role. Like you almost need a champion, whether it's the CIO or a director or someone who's actually assigned to process improvement. That's gonna take the time to not only explore the frameworks and what's working in other organizations, but also to bring other people along on the ride, to share those stories and to bring those trainers in, right?
absolutely. See, these kind of implementations, they are almost always top down, right? It has to come in from the preferably executive management. It comes in from the C level, then goes down to the directors, to managers, directors, whatever your structure is. And I've been asked a lot of these questions myself by my colleagues, my peers. What's in it for me?
Oh,
Right? I have so much work to do, and you're asking me to now go and spend a lot of time entering into a system. Okay, I fixed the issue, fine. For me, that's enough. I got other things to do, right? So yeah, and it's human nature. I mean, if somebody comes and tells me to try out something new, my first line of thought would be the same. Okay, what am I going to get out of it, right? So yeah, so yeah, we're getting there. I think we've 2 years down the line. I think the guys around me are doing a great job. They've pretty much understood what the system does, because we have automated a lot of workflows and things, so people can see the benefits of having a system like that. So
yeah,
challenge,
nothing.
challenge,
Say that again.
challenge, but a happy challenge.
Yes. I think nothing really convinces people like seeing their work being done for them. I remember automating some things at several companies that I've been at, and people they can be shocked because they see all the time that they've wasted, and they can be shocked because they just didn't realize that it could be automated. One example that I always give is that I worked at a company where literally the service desk would go and retype in every single address for everything that was shipping out that day. There was no simple way to take everything that was shipping out, like just give us the transcript of addresses and import that into our label maker system to print off UPS labels so we can ship stuff around the world. And
Right.
when people saw it automated, not only were they super happy because it was way less work, we saw the errors go down. We saw human errors for address typing, returns because stuff's going to the wrong address. All that stuff just went away because the data didn't lie. And you said you've seen some improvements over your first couple of years. And I like your point actually that you made, that you should benchmark, right? Like get your metrics for where you're at today, so that as you make improvements, you can continue to measure against those benchmarks and see those gains. What is the end goal? Like, do you expect to see some additional improvements that you're still working on, um, or have you seen results? What are some of the big results that you're starting to see?
So we can put a term called digital transformation to this,
Right.
to the earlier point that I made about automating the workflows. All right, so that's it did take a while to get off the ground, but once it's done, it's there's a lot of value that has come out of that. We have, of course, one of the big benefits, if you know how to extract it out of an ITSM tool, is your CMDB and what you do with the CMDB. Okay, so sometimes what is actually, let's say, not measured, but what is actually a requirement is that your CMDB be 100% accurate, or as to 100% accurate as possible. But if you're not doing anything with that, then for me, I think it's practically useless. You can have all your assets there, but if you're not linking them to incidents and you're not linking them to changes, then it's just there, you know, dead weight, so to speak. So
Yeah.
harsh term, but yeah. So yeah, we are there in terms of accuracy, and we can obviously you have to keep a periodic review of the accuracy of your CMDB. And I think we're getting to that stage where we're starting to utilize what's there in the CMDB. So
Yeah.
the main things we do have. See again, the more I'm not stating the more obvious ones, because you are recording incidents, you are recording service requests. Some of those incidents you're gonna take through problem management. So those kind of things are all there. Those are the basic stuff that you would do with an ITSM tool. So that's all already there. So those are the things that are already in place. But yeah,
Yeah. That CMDB is a big one. I've been at several organizations where they didn't necessarily see the value, but once they saw the data, then they saw the value. And you're right. A CMDB, I always think of it like the spine. It's kind of like it's connecting everything in the service management stack. And if you don't flex it, it kind of gets stiff and rigid. You're not going to be able to actually use it that much. Whereas if you're always tapping into it, if you're always using it, if you're always engaging it, it's going to be that much better. It's going to be alive. You're going to be able to trust the data in there. And that's what I think CMDBs are all about: trust. Can you trust the data in there? And then you'll use it. And if you can't, then you won't.
yeah. I mean, somewhere down the line, I'd love to see us doing a service mapping. So we have services, and as a company, we're very, very crucial in the whole payment industry here, right? Being the only one so far. So if you're able to map your services all the way down to each CI, then when you touch something, all those things up top that are going to go for a toss, or at least what's going to get impacted. So service mapping I think service mapping would be close to an end goal for having, for using the CMDB properly.
Excellent. Excellent. And I love seeing there's a ton of great tooling out there. It's always fascinating to see what technology exists. I think we're getting closer and closer to the point where you can literally have a system map your dependencies. Packets are going from this router to this server. So obviously those are downstream. And I'm always curious to see, how organizations are leveraging that, whether they can trust and use those things. So it'll be interesting to see what you come up with and how you see your service mapping initiatives go. I would love to hear in a couple of years your stories about going through
Yeah.
those service mapping exercises, because they're difficult. You end up having to have a lot of experts in the room. It's expensive, but you're right. Once you get that mapping, there's a huge benefit to it. What do you think is coming next for service management? Like, if you were going to write the next Service Desk Handbook, what are the areas that you would focus on?
Talking about service desk or any particular area of service management itself?
Any area of service management, yes.
I've been very tempted to put together something maybe half of this size for change management.
I have.
I do change management in the organization, and you know what I've seen is like implementing the change. I think is by far the easiest thing that you can do in change management. But putting together a proper risk assessment, the nitty gritty around all of that, it takes a lot of pain, a lot of patience. And it's not everybody's cup of tea. So yeah, I mean, I was talking to a colleague of mine, and I was thinking, why don't we put up some rules around the whole change management process at our workplace? Why don't we set up a guide, again, a handbook, a guide, whatever you can call it, so people can refer to it while preparing these, because it is very critical, right? Like I said, you can go and change whatever you want, but if you don't identify the risks associated with each of those, whatever you're doing, then you're in for big trouble. And identifying them correctly, describing them correctly, and then putting down your controls in place, your risk treatment plans, and judging the risk ratings. I mean, this is, for me, it's become a sort of an art now. Because again, it's I'm not shaming anybody here, but it's documentation. Not a lot of people like that. Let me just do the change. Let me go and change that router there. Let me go and put in the new access control list there. No, don't make me fill up a risk assessment. No, I know what I'm doing. Nothing's going to go wrong.
Bingo. That's it right there. What I've heard time and time again, I know nothing's going to happen. I know it's going to work. You hear that, and then it doesn't.
Yeah. And then the next day, you read about Microsoft and Facebook. So
yeah, they flipped a bit and down they go. Oh my gosh. Well, when you write it, I would love to read it. Sanjay, where can people connect with you and learn more?
I'm there on LinkedIn, man. I mean, professional network, LinkedIn, definitely. I tweet, but my tweeting is mostly around Liverpool and some bits of, it's mainly sports. I haven't gotten into tweeting, work stuff, but LinkedIn, I am pretty active. So yeah, my LinkedIn profile, I guess people can search up my LinkedIn profile. That's the best way to reach me.
Yep, and they'll find you. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being here on Ticket Volume, Sanjay.
Thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure. I hope sometime later we get to do this again. Let's see, might have more stories to say.
Yes, excellent. I would love that. And for our audience, thanks for listening to this episode. We've got a bunch more out there and even more coming, including the live episodes that we're recording, usually the first Friday or second Friday of every month. So make sure you subscribe to receive an alert every time there's a new one. You can subscribe at ticketvolume.com. You can also submit a specific topic or guest by DMing me or just shouting it on the internet. I'm sure if you shout loud enough, I'll eventually hear it. And besides, you know how the algorithms reward us with your interactions. If you're looking for a solution to build your service desk without the headaches of year-long implementations, you're going to love Invigate. In fact, IT teams from NASA, Toyota, and McDonald's use Invigate to manage requests, automate workflows, and centralize inventory data so that they can focus on delivering better service. Because good service is good business.